Welcome to the Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK. Hey, what's better to do than come out and be at a golf course with the top player in the state of California from Fullerton College? That's Catherine Lee, and we're sitting here right now. And of course, OEC Championship today. I like the golf course you played on. Wind's blowing a little. Conditions aren't maybe ideal for golf, but I'm going to ask you, you were out there. What was the day like?
It was different from Wednesday when we played. It was windier, but the course was great as usual.
So with it being a little windier, I know most people, if it's windier, will try to play a stinger into the wind. They don't want it floating on the sky. Are you that type of player that can adjust your game because of conditions?
Well, I don't hit stingers, but I do hit it lower. My flight shots are more higher. So today I try to control the ball, but I didn't really hit well today. So.
Well, you didn't hit well today. So with not hitting well today, I mean, was it the condition? Was it just one of those days where you were off?
It's probably just one of my days where I was off. The conditions were great. The course was great too, but it was just my game that wasn't here today.
So was it your entire game? Because I know some people can be off when they're up the tee. They just don't feel right. But when they get around the green, I mean, the old adage, drive for show, putt for dough. When you got to the green, was your game much more improved compared to what it was on the fairway?
Yeah, it was definitely my iron shots that weren't great today, but my putting and my short game, it helped me today, I guess.
So you average about 260 from the tee, between 240 and 260 when you're at. When you have problems like you did from there, do you think to yourself, well, maybe I ought to just grab my irons, take those short sticks and go out there and just keep them low and play it a little shorter, and then maybe my second shot would adjust to it?
I usually never have problems with my driver. Hope I don't in the future too. It's usually my irons. So driver, I usually don't worry about them.
So you come out of Houston, Texas. You're here at Fullerton College. So I've got to ask you, when did your career start in the game of golf?
I started in 8th grade. I started a little late, I guess. That's what people say. But 8th grade.
You know, and what attracted you to golf? I mean, you know, I know there's so many women's sports out there that anybody could play. So why did you gravitate to the game of golf?
I actually didn't know anything about golf when I first started, but my mom's friend said, like, with my legs and power that I would do great in golf. I actually danced and played the cello before.
Really?
Yeah, for 8 years.
So, okay, now this is real interesting because golf is a game of rhythm. You've got to have rhythm in golf. So did you find that as a golfer, you used your musical background, and did you add that into the game of golf because you could sit there and think about how slow you must go and how the rhythm may go? Did that help you coming out of the world of music?
Definitely it did.
You know, that's really fascinating when you look at that, to think that you can transition music into the game of golf, because golf is nothing more than a game of almost like dance with that counting that you're doing there. We look at your game. What is your best part of your game?
Probably my driver. My driver.
So if your driver's off, then you're off for the game. Would you say that?
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I would probably say my weakest part of my game is probably my putter. So if my putter's not there with me on that day, then I can score pretty high.
Now, do you use a blade, or do you use a
blade.
mount? You use a blade putter? I was telling Jerry Roque, who's out here today with us on 90.1 KBPK, I've got my Beckley chipper with me, but we were talking about putters, and I said, well, I could have brought mine. I have 4 putters from 1890. Wooden shaft, blade putters that I putt with, and most people will look at those and go, man, that's crazy to do that. But I like the balance. So is that the thing? Have you searched through your world of putters to find that thing that you really like to putt with? Do you have multiple putters at home?
Yeah, I have a lot of putters back in Texas. I get all of my clubs fitted for me.
Oh, really?
I do, every 6 months.
So do you get new clubs every 6 months, or do you just have your clubs that you have adjusted, being reshafted, regripped, or things like that?
It depends on what my fitter says. I don't really know, but if my fitter says, "Hey, you need wedges," then I'll get new wedges.
Okay. Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
and do you carry multiple wedges in your bag? A lot of golfers carry those nowadays.
No. Oh, yeah, I carry 3 wedges, but they're all the same brand.
Are they different, but they're different degrees? So do you carry like a 60 and a 90 and things like that?
I carry a 58, 54, 48, and a pitching wedge.
Okay, all right, all right. So when you get around the green, then you talk about your putting being off a little. Then I've got to ask you, because you have so many different wedges in your bag, do you have a sweet touch around the green? Some people can make up for their lack of putting, being able to get around the green and having that touch to give you not the 9-foot putt, but the 4.5-foot putt.
I would say my chipping's average.
Okay.
It's not really like perfect, but it's not terrible.
Okay, so then I've got to ask you, number 1 in the state, you've got a great record. Your putting's not good, which is what you just told me. Your chipping is not good, is what you just told me.
I said average. just
Oh, average, okay. But you have to be better than average to be number 1 in the state. So has it been that during this season, everything has just worked out well for you when you've been in tournaments, that everything has seemed to click?
I think I just worked really hard for it. I would say that.
And golf is a game of working hard. I mean, you have to practice every day. You're a student athlete. So I've got to ask, being fair, as a student athlete, what is your major?
I'm majoring in computer science.
Wow, okay, that's something I won't even touch here because I don't even like computers when it comes down to it. And the other thing I've got to ask you, because you're a computer science major, I saw some of the young women with the little device for yardage. Now, I don't know if you use that, or do you cite yardage on your own?
Oh, no, I depend on my yardage.
Do you really?
I do.
Because in the old days, we used to have to walk away and figure out how far to hit it, what degree to hit it. Again, like I said, I got a Beckley over there that I can hit anywhere from 86 yards to about 146 yards. So that's why I would say line of sight when you do it. So you do that, and you're that accurate with your clubs where you can say 142 yards and reach in the bag and grab that 9-iron.
Mm-hmm.
And would that be accurate that you'd hit a 9-iron 142 yards?
8, my 8-iron.
8-iron, okay. So we sort of play same distance-wise while you're out there. Before I let you go, because I know you don't want to be on the camera long, women golfers are not loved, endeared. I mean, you look at Co right now, who's there. I go all the way back to Paula Creamer. I can go back to Laura Davis, who could knock the snot out of a golf ball for a young woman. When people look at you and you say you're a collegiate golfer, do they sort of go, oh, nice? Or is there that respect for collegiate golfers who are student athletes that are women in the game today?
People really don't ask me if I play any sports.
Really?
Yeah, I guess it looks like I don't play any sports, but they never ask me.
Well, you're one heck of a student athlete. There's no doubt about that. You couldn't be number 1 in the state of California if you weren't good at what you do, and you wouldn't be in college if you didn't care about your degree down the road someday. So if the choice is to be made, your game keeps improving because you have a wonderful coach that helps you along the way. Your game keeps improving. Is there a day I might see you at the next level?
Definitely.
Is that where your dream is taking you?
Yes.
Number 1 golfer in California, Catherine Lee of Fullerton College. Hey, this is the OEC Championship. State Championship is right around the corner. 260 is about how far she hits it. 4 different wedges in her bag. And if that putter gets hot, there's no better golfer on the course than this young lady standing next to me. So when you look at the state championships, this is the woman's name to look for these coming weeks. And this Fullerton College golf team, tell you what, they have grown through the years. They're getting better. So if you love golf, if you love student athletes, and you have some time out there, no matter who you are, an instructor at Fullerton College, the chancellor over at the NOCCD, president of the college, you need to take time out. You need to come watch these student athletes and be with us out here cheering them on to the state championship here on the Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK. Catherine, Best of
Thank
luck.
you.
Have a
Thank
ball.
you. Thank you.
That's Catherine Lee, #1 golfer in the state of California. Welcome back to the Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK. That's right, the old guy's out there and says, well, you know what? I'm trying to get a foursome together. I got Catherine to go out there. I got Ileana to go out there. I'm number 3, and I figure, what the heck? If I'm going to put my game on the line, I might as well play against the best. So I had to go find another #1 golfer on a team, and I got Miley. I'm not writing her name down on the scorecard because I can't even say it. Your last name is?
Kamali.
Thank you. Here on the Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK. And of course, I've got to ask you about your game because I have everybody else. I didn't get the chance to watch you play out here today. So in the game of golf, everybody looks at it and says, I'm really good at this, I'm really good at that, or geez, if we have to bet money on it, it's not going to work out. What is the strong point of your game?
I would definitely say the strong point of my game would probably be my short game. I'm able to save a lot of my shots if I'm struggling in the fairway. My regulations tend to be my weak spot if I don't make them, so I really depend on my short game to really get me to that par spot or to just pass with the bogey being the worst that it is.
So when somebody would say the short game and you're talking about it, when I look at the short game, I'm going to talk 8, 9, pitching wedge, and I got a Beckley over there. That's my chipper. That's my short game. I don't look at anything beyond that. So is that your short game when we talk about it?
I would say my short game would be anything that's 60 yards and in.
Okay.
Just anything that I would use my sandwich or less in. That just really helps me. You know, I'm able to either chip them in or chip them close to the hole to really give me that tap in to save a par.
So I'm going to look at you and say you're a scrambler then. Even though you're a #1 golfer, you're a scrambler. You could hit it any place on the golf course and say to yourself, I'm okay. Is that your attitude while you're out there playing?
I would definitely say no matter where I'm at, I know that I know I have the skill to get myself into a better position or get myself to where I need to be.
And being somebody who can play with their short club so well, so you can get it within that 5-foot range, which I would say is adequate. 3 to 5 is really, really good if you're that good on doing it. Do you not heavily rely on your putter then? Because I mean, you all play basically stroke play. You play medley. No match play that I've seen so far. So is your putter your second best club since you're talking about a short game?
I definitely am fully confident in my putter. I never really have to stress about it. A 2-putt is my average. I usually can 1-putt. So whenever I'm getting on the green, my putts are not what I'm worried about.
So the struggle is from tee to wherever. So why is there a struggle from tee to wherever? Is it because you just can't find that driver or that driving iron like a 1-iron that makes you feel comfortable? Or is there something that's just a little wobbly? As now people would say, Mark, you're playing with a golfer's head. Is there something that's just a little wobbly when you get up there and you're getting ready to drive on a hole?
My drives are typically fine. It's usually my fairway game that really I struggle with. I can get the distance, but I'll push it a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and it really puts me in that position where I need to depend on my short game to get it close to a tap in for that pin. My regulation shots are really what sets me back from that where I need to be right now. So when I'm going up for my green shot or my regulation shot, I would say that I do get a lot of stress because I have the distance, I have the skill, but I'll push it just a little bit right of the flag or a little bit left of the green, and I have to make sure that my short game gets me there to save that par for me.
So when you're doing that, do you play with standard irons or do you play with hybrids? I mean, I've got Browning 440s in my bag, which technically are all classified as hybrids. They were the original hybrid company. So what do you play with?
Standard irons.
Standard irons.
Yeah.
So where does your problem start? Because with standard irons, people could look, I hit a 1-iron, I love a 1-iron. People would say 1, 2, 3, I just don't like the flatness of the blade coming off a fairway. 4, 5, 6, I'm good. 7, 8, 9, I'm dynamic. What number do we get to where you go, yow, I don't want to hit that?
My 5 and my 4.
Really?
Yeah, I definitely struggle with those a lot to hit them. I can hit them well, but I can't hit them as consistent as I can with my other clubs. And I would say it's probably for the same reason everybody else, just that flat head and maybe just the nervousness of hitting a club like that. because so much can go wrong with that club, but also so much can go right with it. I mean, if you chunk something like that, it's really, you can't really get away with it like you can with a 7 or an 8 or a 9 because they have more of that loft. Those clubs are just such flat heads and they're meant to have no loft at all. So when you chunk those ones, you can't get away with it, which is why I depend on those ones a lot to help me punch under trees if I am in a bad spot. But
Right.
then again, if I go too far behind that ball, that punch is not going to be as well. You know?
So then I'm going to look at you and say you're a golfer that if it's a long hole, there's an advantage for you because you feel comfortable with that driver.
And,
you
yeah.
feel comfortable with that 2-wood, maybe all the way. I don't know if you carry a 5-wood in your bag.
I have a 7-wood and a 3-wood, which I definitely love those clubs. My driver, my 7 and 3-wood, and my putting is good.
Okay, so how far can you hit your 7-wood? What is that comparable to an iron in your bag?
My 7-iron, I can hit about 180, maybe 180.
Your 7 iron
my
or your 7
7-wood,
wood?
sorry,
Okay, I was
sorry.
going to say 7 iron, 180. Holy mackerel.
7-wood, I probably hit maybe like 170 to 180 with a good flick because it has more loft, so it does go up higher. But I do hit it a lot more consistently, so it does help a lot in the game. When I would probably be hitting my 5-iron.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask. I was going to say that's your 3 or 4 that you're taking out of your bag and replacing it with that. Some people wouldn't be able to do this, or some people don't think you can do it, but I got to ask you, since you hit a 5-wood, can you make the 5-wood dance when you hit it? I'm really serious. Can you make it dance when you hit it? Because there are people that can hit 5-woods that can put spin on a 5-wood that when it hits, it takes
just-
one hop and stops.
Yeah. I can do it sometimes, but I don't intentionally try to do
Okay.
it. I can just sometimes make that swing, but I'm not to that point in my game where I can consciously just get up there and say, you know what, I'm going to hit it like this so I can just check it right up and get right there. So with those ones, I do tend to have like a lot of roll with those. I can't really myself say, I'm going to hit it like this. I'm not really there yet with my swing with those clubs.
Miley goes to Mount San Jacinto, and most people would say, where? Who? What? Is it a mountain retreat? I don't know. So, in saying Mount San Jacinto, which most people don't know where it's at,
Right.
being a golfer that's on the other side of the line, because I already had a golf coach today say to me, I don't refer to my ladies as women golfers, I refer to them as golfers. You're at Mount San Jacinto. Do people even think you're an athlete? I know you've got the shirt on. I know it says San Jacinto Golf.
Right.
Do people sort of look at that and go, we have a golf team?
I definitely do get that from some people, but most people, when they hear that I play golf or I play golf at that school and they're at that school, they do actually think it's rather cool because, you know, they think they don't play that sport or they don't see a lot of girls, especially in my age, playing that sport. Especially like in community colleges still, they think that you're going to be at bigger schools, but I would say that most reactions would be that they're interested in it and they think that it's interesting that someone my age is playing competitively in golf.
So when you look at your game of golf, does your game of golf have the hops where you want to go to that next level? And you really, and I'm asking you, honestly, do you have the capability of looking at a lot of Pac-10 schools, great golf programs,
Right.
all right? You can go to the Midwest, great golf programs. Do you have, I can see it in your eyes, but I mean, do you think you have that capability of making that next leap? Because you're the #1 golfer right
Right.
now at San Jacinto, and you're one of the best golfers in the state of California.
I definitely think that I have what it takes. I think that I'm just right behind where I want to be in my game, but I know that I can get there and I know that I will get there.
Okay, Catherine's over there, #1 golf for Fullerton College. You're #1 golf at San Jacinto. We walk out on the golf course. How much snickering, and because you're golfers, how much do you try to get in each other's heads when you play against each other? And there's got to be a friendly rivalry where if one of you doesn't hit that sweet shot, the other one makes a little comment like, bad day today, huh? You're dragging your hands a little? Is that what you're doing? Can't get your hips through? Do you two do that when you play golf against each other?
Not really. I mean, we'll sometimes, if we're having a really good day and we push it a little bit, we'll definitely laugh at it together, but we don't tag on each other too much when we're playing.
Boy, I tell you what, I've just found 2 people I can't play with because they'd be picking on me all day long, not picking on each other. Miley, I'm gonna let you say your last name one more time.
Kamali'i.
Miley is the #1 golfer at Mount San Jacinto, one of the best in the state of California, a bright student athlete, and that's what you see here, same as Catherine, a great student athlete, looking for that next opportunity. Where are you going to be sitting at now? Are you going to be in the state championship? Are you getting ready to go that direction? Because we know Catherine's going that direction. Is that going to happen to you this year?
Definitely.
There we go. So when you look at the state championship, I've already got the 2 top contenders, and I'm putting it out there today. Catherine from Fullerton, Miley from Mount San Jacinto, 1 and 2. When you look at that, 2 best friends are going to be playing for the championship, and we, if we're lucky, will be up at Morro Bay with SportsNetUSA.net, Ed Ford and myself, broadcasting the last 2 holes to see these 2 faces playing it. Thank you very much. I wish you the best. It's been a ball talking to all these wonderful student athletes and the game of golf. Well, I couldn't be happier. Ryan Osborne, Jerry Roque. This has been the Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK.
I'm here with Alyssa Vasquez, who just finished her round here at the golf course. How do you think it went today?
Oh, it was really bad, actually. I definitely could have done better.
A little bit better. Now, do you think that has a lot of factor to do with the conditions that were out today? It was pretty windy. We got to see you guys play a couple of holes today. How big of a factor did that play in on some of the longer holes that have that wind running directly east to west?
I don't think it did anything for me because I wasn't hitting straight anyway. So it was going either way.
And what do you think was the hardest part about today's round today? Do you think your driving was a little bit on the rougher edge? Do you think some of your short game shots could have been a little better? What do you think had that key impact that kind of hurt your game today?
It was definitely my short game because my driver was doing really good. But yeah, my chipping specifically. My putting, I had a few off ones, but it was mainly my chipping.
So chipping does have to, I personally play golf as well, and I tend to really struggle with my chips. I feel like I could hit the ball at 250, 260 down the fairway, dead center, and be within 120 yards of a shot, but then I'll chunk it and land 5 feet in front of me.
Yeah.
How does that affect your game? It's all about the recovery and really the next shot.
Yeah, my recovery definitely wasn't as good today. I know last week when we played, I was doing really well with recovery and just forgetting my bad shots. Today it was not as good. I definitely would chunk it and I'd be, oh man, and then I'd hit it to the right or something.
And today is a pretty long course, I'd say. You guys had a pretty handful of really long par 5s, a couple of really long par 4s as well as some really nice short par 3s. We saw you guys on that 113 par 3 with that lake on that right side. Did any of the other parts of the course have any key effect or impact on the game today?
I don't think so, especially because we played it last week. We were already used to it. The main one was, I think it was hole 6, where the lake is pretty much the entire fairway. But we'd already remembered that from last week, so it wasn't too bad.
And how does a round like today carry over into Wednesday? You guys have a pretty good feel, like you said. You guys got the opportunity to play this course earlier this week. Now you guys got a full round in today. Wednesday's matchup should look to be pretty similar weather-wise. How do you think that's going to affect the game then?
I definitely think it's more me personally and then seeing how the weather plays in that day, because I know I need to go and practice and focus on my chipping and make sure I stay consistent in my irons mainly, and then I'll go from there. So
you think your driving and your irons were the most consistent shots today for sure?
Definitely my drives were pretty good. My irons were okay. I was either pulling them or pushing them and I never knew which one was coming up next. So I think just getting more consistent, which is hard to do in a day.
Oh yeah.
But it'll be okay. There's only going up from here.
And it really does come down to repetition. You have to hit the golf course almost every single day, 120, 150 balls every single time, just working the same iron to get that consistent shot every single time. Like I said, I'm a personal golfer as well, and I want to die every single time I hit a bad shot. I'm like, I just had that. It should be locked down, but really does come down to consistency, rhythm, and tempo and all that. And I'm glad you had a decent round today. Hopefully Wednesday's looks a little better.
Yes.
What do you think are going to be some of the key things to carry over today into Wednesday's round to give you a better chance?
Definitely just being more confident in every shot. Even if I think, oh, this is between clubs, or oh, it's really close, I'm not usually good at those chips. Just tricking myself into being confident and just doing it.
And how does the group that you played with today have an effect on your game today?
Oh, I It was great. Like being comfortable with my group definitely helps. Like talking helps the round go faster, and just like talking through like certain shots sometimes is nice. Yeah, I'd like to play with them again on Wednesday.
So it's nice to have that kind of competitive friendliness on the
Yes.
field as well right now. So you're able to kind of discuss what kind of shots you want to look into, but while also equally wanting to make sure that
Yes.
you get the better shot that
course,
they do every
exactly.
single time. So it's kind of nice to have that even balance of competitiveness and also friendliness out on the field today, which is really great. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great round on Wednesday, and good luck on the OEC Championships as well as the state championships next week.
Thank you.
Of course. So Jerry, I'm here with Liviana Griffin. Liviana, you just finished your
Hi.
round here. How did it go for you today?
It definitely wasn't my best, but I had a couple exciting holes. I had a few birdies, so that's nice.
And which holes did you have some birdies on? Were they on some short holes? Were they on some longer holes?
I birdied a par 3 and a par 4.
There you go. Very nice. And what do you think was the strongest part of your game today? It's a very, very difficult game, and there's a lot of factors in it, but there's some that people tend to gravitate more towards, that are stronger towards. What do you think is yours?
I definitely would say, especially today, my driving is probably my strong suit, and my iron shots and my wedges onto the green.
And you guys have already gotten the you guys have already gotten the opportunity to play this course a few days ago, and now you guys have gotten through another 18. How do you think that's going to line up for your guys' match on Wednesday?
I think all the girls will do pretty well on Wednesday, just considering the 2 practice rounds and kind of having different conditions today with the wind, and then last time not so much, so just kind of getting a different idea for it.
And was there any holes that you felt like you really struggled on today? There's some really long par 5s that are over on that backside.
Yeah.
13 has that really, really big pond
Yeah.
over towards the end once you start approaching that green.
Yeah.
How does a course like this factor in your type of game?
I mean, for me personally, I do better on those par 5s. I mean, my 3 woods are usually my strong suit also with my drive, so it's kind of opposite, but I would say it kind of depends on my day. If I'm having good iron shots, and I love those par 3s, but yeah.
So you do like to gravitate towards those 3 woods and those hybrids.
Yes,
What
yes.
kind of bag do you have right now? Do you have a pretty dominant wood bag, or do you have a pretty good variety of wedges and a lot of long irons?
I have my driver, 3 wood, 5 wood, 4 hybrid, and then 5 iron down.
Oh, so you have
So,
a pretty
yeah.
good selection of
Yes.
woods and hybrids to
Yes.
choose from. See,
Yeah.
I only have one,
Okay.
and I usually only gravitate towards some of the longer irons. I know earlier we were talking to Catherine and some of your other teammates. A lot of them also like to gravitate sort of towards the hybrids and the woods.
Yeah.
Does that long iron kind of scare you a little bit on some of those longer holes? Do you have a little bit more confidence in your
I
hybrids?
would say my 5 iron is probably one of my favorite clubs. Also, I
Okay.
like my longer iron, so it just depends.
So
but
being a longer iron, and you are a little bit of a shorter golfer, and it is a little bit difficult to find those fitted clubs and really get that
Yeah.
selected down for you.
Yeah.
How does that affect your game?
I mean, I'm pretty new to the game right now. I barely really started. This is the most competitive I've ever been, and the most I've played. And even before this year, I had only played really a full 18 holes twice in my high school. So this is all very new for me still.
And it's a very
Yeah.
competitive league as well.
Yeah.
The Orange Empire
Yeah.
Conference has a lot of great
Yes.
golfers and a lot of
Yes.
fantastic golf
Yeah, it's
courses
on
here
our
in
team
Southern
also.
California. The Fullerton College, or excuse me, the Fullerton Golf Course right up the street from the college is also a great 18 holes. I got the opportunity to play there not
Yes.
too long ago. It's a very
Yes.
fun course as well. You guys normally go and practice there, and you guys kind of consider that as your home court. You guys did host a round there earlier in the week, and you guys ended up doing pretty well against some of those competitors. How is it going to some of these other courses in here, like a neutral course where everyone's kind of playing it new? How does that affect your guys' game as well?
I think that it kind of just depends how you go about it. I mean, for me, my personal best right now is a 90. I shot 90 last time we were here, and I shot 90 up at Morro Bay
There you
last time. So today wasn't my best, but I think that when you go into a new course with a fresh mindset, there's less negative thoughts than you would at a course you already know. So I think there's that also. It kind of just factors both ways.
And El Prado is also a pretty open course, very similar to this, a little bit more of a tighter fairways on some of those back holes over towards that gun range side. How does a course like this kind of help you prepare for those championships coming up?
I would say really just at El Prado especially, you really got to make sure your drives are going straighter, whereas here you kind of have more, not so much OB, whereas there you kind of do. And Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, I forgot your question.
No, you're all good.
Sorry.
So I got the opportunity to head over to the putting green, and I got to
Okay.
watch you guys hit your balls over there on that, I believe it was hole 9 or hole 8 before you guys teed off on 9. The greens were looking pretty fast today,
Mm-hmm.
and a wind has a lot of factor on that. Is it a little bit difficult on those greens today?
Yes, definitely. Especially, I don't think the pin placements were as hard today as they were last week. I think last week the pin placements were harder for putting, actually. But definitely the wind was throwing everybody off. I noticed everyone's shots were a little...
And I did notice
sure.
on that par 3 on 13, and as well as here on number 18, like you said, a lot of the pin placements today were very, very close to that front edge, which
Yes.
does leave you very open on that backside to kind
Yeah.
of overkill the shot and at
Yes.
least be able to get on the green. But I did notice you guys were very consistent today. A lot of people had some great shots today.
Thank you.
A lot of great practice shots. A lot of practice goes into the game of golf. How do you guys transition that during the practice into your games?
Definitely, just the more you do something correctly, the less you'll mess it up. Like when you get on the course, you know, you chip 100 times the night before, you go out there, it just feels natural, pretty much. It's just, yeah.
That's all it takes.
That's what I'd say, yeah.
Well, good luck on your guys'
Thank
match
you.
on Wednesday, and good luck
Thank
at
you.
state championships next week.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for
Thank you.
Of course.
So we're still here on the golf course because it's a beautiful afternoon, and where else would you want to be but be in a golf course? And I've already got to talk to one of the top players in the state of California, and yet I'm not walking away from top players in the state of California. And the reason the young lady next to me is on the air with me is for 2 reasons. Alumni from Catella High School, both of us. I went there when the school started, so I'm a lot older than you. And then she follows up to keep that heritage of great student athletes from Catella High School going to the game. It's a pleasure to have you here on the Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK. For those of you that don't know her, this is Ileana Fernandez, our number 2 golfer, ranking-wise on our team, and you're one of the top players in the state yourself, in the state of California.
That is true, yes.
As she's got a big grin on her face. And Ileana, I've got to look at you. You look like you're all of a $150 tall. I mean, what are you, 5 feet?
5'2".
5'2".
Well,
And
5'1.5", but
5'2", 5'1.5". Here's what's interesting about the game of golf. You look at a lot of other sports and you have to have that massive build, that power, that thing that's going on here. I have somebody who is a student athlete, a collegiate student athlete, who's 5 feet tall, hits the ball about 240 yards, 220 to 240.
240, yeah.
240 is what she hits it, and is one of the top golfers in the state of California. So let's blow up the myth that you have to be this phenomenal physical specimen to play this wonderful game that she plays, and you can be as skilled as anybody out there as you've done today. Of course, you're playing in the OEC Championship today, a little wind blowing. Did it affect your game in any way or form?
It did affect my game, especially on the 18th hole. I had a couple shots, but I came back and put a lag and made it in for par. So.
There you go. So you had an excellent round today, didn't you? You were just talking to your number 1 golfer on the team,
Yeah.
Catherine, and she looked at your scorecard and said, you played better than I did today. So I've got to go to that for just a second. Do you young women on your team, I know you're a team, but is there this thing, because I'm going back to my days when I played team golf.
Yeah.
Is that thing where you go, I know she's the best on the team, but I really do want to walk up and go, look what I shot today. Is there that little rivalry on your team here?
I think it's a friendly competition, and it's what keeps us working harder, and it helps us to try our best and compete at our very top.
Now, being 5 feet tall, right around where you are, everybody doesn't realize that when you're playing golf, most golf clubs are a standard length when you play with them. Everybody buys a set. They're the same length unless you've got a lot of bucks and you can get the standard club that you can get it adjusted to. So I'm going to look at you about your set of golfs. You're 5 feet tall. I've got to ask you, what sort of, not necessarily brand-wise, but what do you do with your golf clubs? Do you choke up on them? Do you buy, maybe, as silly as this sounds, some sort of junior set that you have juiced up? Or what do you do for the clubs you've got being the height you are?
Usually it just depends on my strength. Strength-wise, I play regular shafts, but I use graphite, so that helps me personally. And I do choke up sometimes, but that's depending on how far I want the ball to go. Yeah, I don't hit junior clubs, not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for those of you that would wonder why she's using a graphite shaft, that would give you more whip than a normal club. So you've got to realize that the whip is going to give her club head speed. Therefore, that club head speed is going to give her more generation into the ball, which is going to give her more flight for her to get more distance on the club. And so that's why you choose graphite over a steel shaft or any other sort of shaft, which may not give you as much club head speed coming in there with the ball. True?
True, yeah. Sometimes also steel shafts are kind of heavy on me. And as much as I'd like to say that I am strong, it does weigh on my swing and how fast I can hit the ball.
Because of you talking about trying to get club head speed and everything coming up, when you're up at the ball, do you open up just a little? So most people, your stance is going to be like this. Do you open up your front foot so you can get your hips through quicker so that you can get more club head speed?
Yeah, I do it more with my driver. I have it my toe out a little bit. It helps me to, as you said, whip around and turn better.
Get a better turn on that. So we talk about the distance you can get. I already asked Catherine what's the best thing of what her game is. What's the best thing of what your game is? Where do you really excel at?
Honestly, that's a really tough question because I believe that it depends on what I'm working on. I think that there's barrels that you need to keep on putting liquid in, you know, like the practice. You need to practice everything and make sure, because one thing can get really good and bring you down. Yeah, so I think it really depends on the week and the round that I'm playing.
So I didn't ask Catherine, but what is your best round as a golfer?
I shot even at El Prado this season.
Very nice.
With a 73, yes.
Very nice. And of course, Catherine and I were talking about being student athletes, and again, there is no respect for the women's golfer that's out there. Let's be realistic. You look at the PGA and everybody goes, woo, 500 yards. Look what he did. LPGA plays more like the common golfer, be it man or woman. We all average about 250, 260, except for people like Jerry that just wants to bust the ball and doesn't care where it goes. If it goes to the middle, far to the right, or far to the left, it's out there 300 yards, but the hole's that way, Jerry. You know, so you don't get the respect. So how do you deal with when people sort of go, oh, you play women's golf for Fullerton College? Do you sort of try and let them know that you are a student athlete?
When I was younger at Catella, yeah, I did, there was that stigma, and I did feel like there's all these people who are going to tell you stuff, but growing up you realize that you're better than that, and you just show them on the course the type of golfer and that you are a student athlete with your grades and how you play on the course.
I got to ask you, because you brought up our high school. Is there a women's team at Catella High School?
When I played, there was, I actually competed and won, well, not conference, it's league. I won league freshman through junior year.
Did they still have a city championship playing the high school?
They had the CIF.
Okay, they used to have a city championship that used to play at Dad Miller's golf course in the old days.
We still play there.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, and the one who set the course record was Keith Wakamatsu, the #1 golfer at Catella High School, used to own the course record. He ended up going to UCI with somebody that played golf 7 days a week because that's what his dad wanted, and gave up the game of golf. Who got you into the game of the golf, since I bring up that story?
It was my dad, yeah. He lived a life, or he still lives a life, but he's had a really tough upbringing, and he was lucky enough to start out and work in a golf course, and he showed it to my siblings, and then I was the youngest, so I, sure enough, was playing golf as well.
That's that handsome man that's standing over there by our camera, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I saw you smile at him when you started to tell this story. Dad, she's very proud of you as a person. I could tell that when she started to talk, and I know you're just as proud of her in the game of golf. Are you looking for the game of golf taking you that next level collegiately so that you can do what you'd like to do with the rest of your life?
Yeah, I want to continue to play golf, and I want to take it to the next level, play out of 4 years, so then get a scholarship wherever I go, and use it to pay for college.
Okay, one thing before I let you go, because I didn't keep Catherine that long either,
Yeah,
but
you're good.
I look at tournaments, what I love about tournaments, and it didn't happen here, I love match play. Medal play, yeah, if you have a hole that blows up on you, you're out of the tournament. Match play, well, I can have a hole that I take a 19 on, but I can still beat you during the day. So what's your preference, because you're in collegiate golf? Would you prefer match play or medal play right now if you had to play for a championship?
Oh, that's tough. I think right now I'm more in a state of playing mental play, like playing with the whole field. I do really like match play, but I think right now with the mindset I have, I'm just trying to take everyone.
Well, I was gonna, offer to bring my clubs down one day and have a little match play and see, was it old school Catella golfers or the youngsters from Catella that are a little bit better? But I guess that's not gonna happen. So all I could do is wait to see what you do when the state tournament comes around. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to your Fullerton College team. And again, take a little time out. Come out and watch these wonderful female athletes. I know people hate to have me use that term, female athletes, but year of Title IX, the problems that are going on with Title IX, these young ladies do not get the respect of their male counterparts no matter what the sport is, and it's about time you, the visitor, you, the watcher, realize this is a proud student athlete like Catherine was, and they should get the same respect as every young man that walks on a campus at a college. One of the best in the state. Hey guys, if you think you can play golf, I'll tell you what, we'll do a little match play. I'll take Catherine, I'll take her, we'll match you up, and if you can't beat them, you get to leave Fullerton College and go find another JC to go to. This has been Mark and Ileana on the Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK.